when the cruel fallen angel descended to Earth, while everyone else was fleeing for their lives in a panic. I slapped her right across her pretty face. I even forced her to put on a modern wedding dress, all because the class I awakened to was the Lich Emperor. Every creature that exists in the Lich realm will submit to me unconditionally. Turns out this is a doomsday world ravaged by a zombie virus. Everyone thinks this apocalypse was caused by a virus developed by humans. But only I know the truth. This apocalypse is just a game played by the gods. Every zombie is far stronger than humans in every aspect. What's more, they can even evolve by devouring humans or their own kind. Maybe the gods thought the one-sided situation was too boring. So they sent down divine gifts on the 7th day of the apocalypse. Awakening orbs would randomly appear in every city. When people swallow these orbs, they can awaken all kinds of superpower classes. But in my last life, I risked my life to deliver food to that so-called goddess, which made me miss the first batch of awakening orbs. In the end, I only got a hold of the second batch. You have to understand, the superpower classes awakened by the 2 batches of orbs are worlds apart. Even so, in my past life with my Class A Demon Hunter class, I still climbed to the ranks of the world's top 10 strongest. And in my final moments, I even wore down and killed the legendary zombie emperor. Now, I've been reborn right on the day the awakening orbs arrive. Starting at 5 p.m. today, the awakening orbs will start appearing one after another. But from what I know, there are only 1,000 orbs in the first batch per city. Even though nearly half of humanity has already turned into zombies, there are still nearly 1 billion people left. In Yuncheng, where I live, there are at least 4 million people left. You can imagine how fierce the competition will be. Luckily, though, people don't realize the value of the awakening orbs yet. In my past life, I already knew the general area, where the first batch of orbs would be. Among these 1,000 orbs, there's only one SS-class awakening orb. If you swallow it, you can awaken the SS-class superpower, 6-winged fallen angel. Just as I was thinking about how to get my hands on this orb, my phone suddenly rang. Qifenglin, why haven't you brought the food yet? Yingying and I are starving. Yingying finally started to have a little crush on you, and you don't even know how to cherish it. If it weren't for her kindness, a simp like you would never get to see her in this lifetime. Endless insults poured from the other end of the line, but the moment I heard the name Zhou Ying, my expression turned cold instantly. I knew Zhou Ying all too well. In my past life, I risked my life
to give her all my food.
But I wasn't even allowed to step inside her house. Instead, just because I said I had no food left either, and hoped she could save a little for me, Zhou Ying and her best friend decided I was no longer useful, so they simply lured zombies over, trying to kill me. Thinking about this, I was so angry I wanted to hang up immediately, but then it hit me. They were in the same building where the SS-class awakening orb would appear. It's like finding something you've been searching for everywhere, without even looking. Not only could I get the only SS-class awakening orb in this city, but I could also settle the score with Zhou Ying and Sun Qian while I was at it. Just then, another voice came from the phone. Qian Qian. Don't talk to him like that. It's normal for Fenglin to be scared of zombies. We can't put him in danger. If something happens to him, I don't want to live either. Zhou Ying said this in a fake sobbing tone, but her face was filled with disdain. I say you're just too nice. Master Wang is practically throwing himself at you. But you won't accept him. Instead, you have to give Qifenglin a chance. But look at him. He's such a coward who doesn't even dare to bring you food. The two of them kept going back and forth, their faces growing more and more disdainful. I couldn't help but find it laughable. But I still pretended to agree with them. Don't worry. I'll definitely get to your place. Before 5 p.m. today, after hanging up the phone, I packed up quickly. There wasn't much food left in the house, probably only enough to last me about a week. So this trip out, I not only had to get that SS-class awakening orb before anyone else, but also scavenged some supplies on the way back. However, the skyscraper was 2 streets away from here. There must be a lot of zombies along the way, so I took apart the bedboard and tied it to the key parts of my body to avoid getting bitten. Just to be safe, I grabbed a baseball bat and tucked a kitchen knife into my waist. By the time I was fully prepared, it was already 3:10 p.m., only 1 hour and 50 minutes left until 5 p.m. I looked down from the window, maybe because there were no more living people on the streets. The zombies all over the street wandered around aimlessly, as if they'd lost their target. Even though these zombies weren't dangerous to me right now, I knew better. These shabby-looking zombies right now, would start devouring each other to evolve after today. From then on, the zombie horde would begin a collective mutation. I gently pushed open the door, stepped out of the room, and slowly moved toward the end of the hallway. I didn't dare make a single sound. One wrong move could attract a horde of zombies. 5 minutes later, I made it safely to the second floor. But what worried me was the zombies wandering on the street below. It was almost impossible to walk straight through them. If I charged in, I'd only end up being torn to shreds. Suddenly, I remembered the room at the corner of the second floor. It was a broadcast room. The broadcast room was connected to many speakers on the left side of the street. In my past life, I used this broadcast room to attract most of the zombies' attention and took the chance to cross those two streets. But before entering the broadcast room, I lifted my baseball bat ready to swing. Because in my past life, when I opened the broadcast room door, a zombie suddenly jumped out and tackled me to the ground. If I hadn't been wearing thick clothes back then, I would have been scratched and infected long ago. This time, I definitely wouldn't let that happen again. The moment I opened the broadcast room door, a dull thud sounded. The male zombie was knocked to the ground by my baseball bat, motionless. Right after that, I turned on all the street broadcast speakers. The nearby zombies swarmed toward the nearest speaker, and I took the chance to finish off the scattered ones. I successfully made it into the skyscraper. My baseball bat was already covered in blood. I leaned against the hallway wall, gasping for breath. This body was still too weak. It hadn't gone through the awakening ritual, and the gene lock hadn't been unlocked yet. Luckily, the adrenaline in my body had helped, but the downside was that I'd used up all my strength. So I took out the chocolate I'd prepared earlier to replenish my energy. Only when the tiredness faded away did I continue moving forward. There were only 40 minutes left until 5 o'clock sharp, but the skyscraper had 37 floors in total, and I was still on the first floor. What's more, the elevator to the top floor was broken. The only way up was to climb the stairs. By this time, Zhou Ying and Sun Qian's stomachs were growling with hunger. Sun Qian immediately picked up her phone to urge me again. In no time, there were 99 unread messages, but I didn't reply. Chief Englin just gets too much leniency, daring to ignore our messages for this long. When he comes this afternoon, Ying, don't be nice to him at all. Zhou Ying let out a cold laugh. Him? A useless simp with nothing going for him, if it weren't for those damn zombies outside. I'd find even looking at him disgusting. As long as he brings the food over, he'll have no more use to us. So she took out her phone and made a call. Fenglin, why haven't you arrived yet? I've been waiting for so long. Zhou Ying forced down her disgust, purposely speaking in a soft, coquettish tone. In her mind, as long as she spoke to me like this, I'd act like a simp driven by lust, willing to rush over no matter what obstacles stood in my way. She was sure this time would be no different. But when I heard her words, I got goosebumps all over. Even so, I pretended to sound anxious and said, I'll be there soon. I brought a lot of food. I'll drop by and give you two a surprise in a bit. After hanging up, I glanced down at my watch. Only a few seconds remained until the awakening orb appeared. By then, I had already reached the top of the skyscraper. Moments later, the sky above the rooftop began to twist and distort. A black orb the size of a fist rolled down to my feet. I knew this pitch-black orb all too well. It was the awakening orb that could change the entire fate of humanity. With a crack, I crushed it without hesitation. In the next second, bright red liquid oozed out of the orb, spreading up my right hand and covering my entire body. The whole process took only 10 seconds. Then, a light blue pop-up window appeared in front of me. Human 4001. Chief Englin, Level 1. Basic Awakened Class, Lich Emperor. Class Rank, SSS. Strength, 10. Agility, 10. Spirit, 10. Vitality, 10. Innate Skill, Undead Summoning. Can summon 10 undead spirits from the undead realm. The maximum level of summoned undead cannot exceed your own level by 1. Undead Chant, chants the Undead Requiem. Centered on yourself. Within a 100-meter radius, all summoned undead have their stats doubled. Cooldown 1 hour. After seeing this information, I was shocked. I had thought this orb would awaken the SS rank class, 6-winged fallen angel, but never in my wildest dreams. Did I expect to awaken an SSS rank class instead? You have to know, only 3 people awakened SSS rank classes in my past life, and those 3 took the top 3 spots among the world's strongest. Now, I had actually awakened an SSS rank class, too. After successfully awakening, I was no longer an ordinary human. I directly advanced to level 1 awakened. But level 1 was only the lowest rank for awakens. Above level 1, there were 8 more levels. Each level was divided into 4 small stages, and each level was worlds apart from the last. In my past life, my awakened class was Demon Hunter, even though I went through countless life-or-death battles and had adventures that broke through class level limits. By the time I was reborn, I was only at mid-tier legend rank. I ranked 10th among the world's top 10 strongest. The 9 above me were mostly at peak legend rank, and some even reached myth rank. But in this life, I had awakened the SSS rank Lich Emperor. Maybe I could break through the limits, climb to the top, and become a god. I could personally kill those beings who treated humans like toys. After reading the stats for undead summoning and undead chant, I was thrilled. No wonder these were SSS rank innate skills. Undead summoning could summon not just 10 undead from the undead realm, but the summoned undead's level would be at least level 1 low tier, and could go as high as level 2 peak. You have to remember, right now zombies haven't started mass cannibalism yet. They haven't evolved. The strongest zombies are probably only level 2 low tier, and a level 2 peak undead meant I could walk freely and unchallenged in the apocalypse. Plus, this skill would grow as my own level increased. And undead chant, this skill was terrifying too. It could double the stats of all summoned undead within 100 meters. That's just insane! Not only can I summon level 2 undead right now, but with the boost from Undead Requiem, their stats would definitely go through the roof. I could probably even ride on the Zombie King's head and get away with it. After figuring out my class and skills thoroughly, I tried muttering the summoning incantation. Right away, around me, a strange green magic circle glowing with eerie light appeared. Low, rumbling sounds from the undead realm echoed out. Then, a figure suddenly appeared in the center of the circle. As the green light faded, the figure became clearer. A 2-meter-tall skeleton warrior stood quietly in front of me. Its empty eye sockets flickered with eerie green soul fire. It held a huge ancient sword tightly in its hands. Skeleton warrior. Level 1 mid-tier. A warrior from the undead realm, possesses an unyielding belief in victory. The lowest ranked soldier in the undead army. All 4 main stats, 20. No skills. Right after that, more identical skeleton sword warriors appeared in the circle. I was about to assume all 10 undead would be level 1 mid-tier skeleton warriors, when suddenly the magic circle lit up with a bright glow. A taller figure than the skeleton sword warriors appeared. It rode a tall skeletal horse and held a long spear in its hand. Its aura was clearly much stronger than the skeleton warriors. Skeleton captain. Level 2 mid-tier. A captain from the undead realm also possesses an unyielding belief in victory, along with a more powerful physique. A squad leader in the undead army, all 4 main stats, 70, innate skill, charge. Every time it leads a squad in a charge, all squad members' stats are doubled. Whoa. I couldn't help but exclaim when I saw the skeleton captain's stats, especially when I saw the charge skill. My mind went blank. Right now, in this stage, its ridiculously high stats alone were insane, not to mention the charge skill. It was basically on par with my undead chant. I could already imagine it. If I first used undead chant to double all undead stats, then the skeleton captain launched a charge. That would mean all squad members' stats would be quadrupled, and from what I knew, a level 2 mid-tier zombie only had around 100 to 200 stats at most. The skeleton captain was also level 2 mid-tier, but with the combined boost of undead chant and charge, it could one-shot a level 2 zombie in seconds. Just thinking about this, I couldn't help but gasp. But right then, my phone started vibrating again. Before Zhou Ying, on the other end, could start questioning me, I said coldly, "Don't rush. I'll let you two experience a surprise you'll never forget for the rest of your lives soon enough." After saying that, I hung up immediately. I glanced at the 10 skeletons standing by ready for orders, then ordered them to clear out zombies starting from the top floor. Even though I had already cleared most of the zombies in the stairwell, before reaching the rooftop, there were still many zombies hiding in the rooms of the skyscraper. Before awakening my class, killing zombies gave no rewards at all, but after awakening, zombies were like wild monsters in a game, NPCs that gave experience points when defeated. And in a few days, when zombies started cannibalizing each other and evolving Killing them would even have a chance to drop awakening orbs, though the drop rate was extremely low. After that, the skeleton captain led the 9 skeleton warriors to clear zombies floor by floor. Right now, zombies were stronger than ordinary humans, but in front of the skeleton warriors, they were like tiny chicks. One strike with a sword, and they fell, as easy as cutting vegetables. And the only damage zombies could do to the skeleton warriors was biting. But skeleton warriors had no flesh or blood, so they were naturally immune to the zombie virus. As for the damage from biting, it was practically negligible. In no time, kill notifications popped up nonstop. Skeleton sword warrior defeated a level-less zombie, gained 5 XP. Skeleton captain defeated a level-less zombie, gained 3 XP. They were both killing level-less zombies, but the XP the skeleton warrior and skeleton captain got was actually different. Maybe it's because the skeleton captain was level 2, so killing lower-level zombies gave it less XP. So, I simply told the skeleton captain not to join the cleanup, leaving all the zombies in the building for the skeleton warriors. Maybe they'd get a chance to evolve and level up too. Soon, I led the skeleton squad from the top floor down to the 18th floor. The floor below was where Zhou Ying and Sun Qian were. The skyscraper's sound insulation wasn't great, and with my awakened abilities, when I stood right above Zhou Ying and Sun Qian, their conversation reached my ears clearly. Ying, why hasn't Qi Fenglin come yet? Do you think he's lying to you? Hearing Sun Qian's words, Zhou Ying also started to doubt herself. No way! He's always done whatever I told him. But anyway, Brother Yetian will be here soon, even if Qi Fenglin is too scared to come. Brother Yetian will definitely bring us food. When that happens, I'll take Yetian to his place, eat all his food right in front of him, and even throw him down to feed the zombies. How dare he make me wait this long? He deserves to die! After hearing Zhou Ying and Sun Qian's conversation, I just let out a cold laugh. I didn't feel the slightest bit of anger. After all, who gets angry at people who are about to die? Just then, someone knocked on their door. Zhou Ying and Sun Qian exchanged glances. It must be that Simp Qi Fenglin. Just as they were about to ask who it was, a man's voice came from outside. Ying. Open the door quickly, it's Yetian. When Zhou Ying heard the man's name, her eyes lit up instantly. The look of disgust on her face disappeared at once. Replaced by a joyful expression, she opened the door and threw herself into the man's arms. Brother Tian, why did you take so long? I was so scared. Yetian patted Zhou Ying's back gently, comforting her. It's okay. It's okay. From now on, I'll be here. You don't have to be scared anymore. But while he was comforting Zhou Ying, he also glanced around the room. All he saw was leftover trash in the living room. Not a single trace of food. This made Yetian frown slightly. If his own food at home hadn't run out, and if Zhou Ying hadn't said she had extra food at her place, he would never have risked coming here. Even though Yetian was already furious, he forced a smile for the sake of food, and asked, Ying, didn't you say you had plenty of food here? Maybe realizing he'd been too direct. Yetian quickly added, do you have enough supplies? If not, I can go get some. I asked a friend to store some food in this building before. It was obvious this was just an excuse to fish for information. After all, in this apocalypse, food was life-saving supplies you couldn't even buy with money. There was no way a friend would share their food, and if Zhou Ying and Sun Qian really had no food left, Yetian would abandon them without hesitation. Of course, before abandoning them, he'd definitely squeeze out their last bit of value. Facing Yetian's fake concern, Zhou Ying forced an awkward smile. Hurry, someone will bring food soon. Brother Tian, just sit and wait a little longer. After saying that, Zhou Ying quietly took out her phone to contact me. I looked down at the caller ID on my phone, and a cold smile tugged at the corner of my mouth. What a pair of pieces of work. It was time to go down and teach them a lesson. Soon, I led the skeleton squad down to the 17th floor. The zombies here had become agitated. Because of Yetian's intrusion, as soon as I led the skeleton squad down the stairs, we were immediately swarmed by zombies. In the stairwell, ear-piercing roars echoed instantly. Zhou Ying and the other two on the same floor heard it clearly too, but they all pretended not to. Zhou Ying and Sun Qian exchanged a glance from across the room. They were both worried. Worried if the roars from the stairwell were caused by me. But they weren't worried about my safety at all. They were worried about the food I was carrying. It didn't matter to them if I died. Just don't let the food get lost. At that moment, the number of zombies in the stairwell was more than all the upper floors combined. Normally, each floor should have roughly the same number of zombies, but Yetian had charged through recklessly, barely making it to the 17th floor by the skin of his teeth. He was safe now, but he'd lured a huge horde of zombies from the lower floors. At this point, there were at least 40 to 50 zombies on this floor alone. But facing the swarming zombie horde, I didn't back down at all. Instead, I got really excited. After all, these were all walking XP points. 40 to 50 zombies would give at least 200 XP. Way more than cleaning up over 10 upper floors combined. Facing the zombies' collective attack, countless emaciated hands tore at the skeleton warriors, while their sharp teeth bit down with all their might. But the damage they could do to the skeleton warriors was negligible. However, the zombie horde was huge in number, and the stairwell was such a narrow space, the skeleton sword warriors couldn't fight effectively for a while. Seeing the situation about to reach a stalemate, I immediately began chanting the Undead Requiem. The moment the Undead Requiem started, all the skeleton warriors' stats doubled. Every swing of their swords could take down a zombie easily. In less than 3 minutes, all the dozens of zombies in the stairwell were eliminated. After that, I walked out of the stairwell, surrounded by the skeleton sword warriors. When the noise from the stairwell grew quieter and quieter, until it finally went silent, Chu Wing and Sun Tian mustered up the courage to open the door a crack, peering cautiously at the stairwell. Right then, they saw me walking out of the stairwell with a group of terrifying skeletons. With a loud bang, Zhou Ying slammed the door shut hard. She was so scared that she plopped down onto the floor. Chen Qian, did you see that? Those skeletons next to Qi Fenglin are so terrifying, and I think I saw endless killing intent in his eyes. Outside the door, I grinned. I didn't expect Zhou Ying and Sun Qian to react so strongly. But then again, any normal person would never expect skeletons to exist in the world. Not to mention that the two of them were just weak women. But I wasn't afraid of exposing myself at all. I hadn't come here to win their favor anyway. As for that iron door that seemed impenetrable, it was nothing but a joke to the powerful skeleton captain. At this moment, Yetian was also confused by their words. Skeletons? What on earth did you two see outside? Brother, yeah, there are skeletons outside. The kind we've seen in movies. They're so scary. As Sun Qian spoke, she tried to throw herself into Yetian's arms. But Zhou Ying, who was beside her, immediately guessed what Sun Qian was up to. What a shameless slut. How dare you steal my man? Zhou Ying cursed silently in her heart, then threw herself into Yetian's arms first. Brother Yetian, I'm so scared. You promised you'd protect me. She turned her head slightly to look at Sun Qian, who was standing still, and a proud smile crept onto her face. It seemed she was still better at playing these tricks. But at that moment, Yetian's mind was nowhere near this. If it weren't for their food, he would have kicked these two scheming bitches out long ago. Ying Ying, don't be scared. I told you I'd protect you. But where is that food you mentioned? Yetian held Zhou Ying's shoulders gently, forcing a concerned expression. But just as Zhou Ying was about to say the food was outside the door, she thought of the skeletons beside me, and the words stuck in her throat. Seeing Zhou Ying hesitate to speak, a faint smile lifted the corner of Sun Qian's mouth. Oh, I wonder who it was. Just now at the door, I think I saw your boyfriend come to bring you food. Sure enough, Sun Qian's guess was right. When Yetian heard this, his eyes filled with anger. Unconsciously, he tightened his grip on Zhou Ying. Yetian didn't like Zhou Ying at all, but he hated being someone's backup plan even more. After all, he was the campus heartthrob of Yuncheng University. If it weren't for this meal, he wouldn't even have glanced at Zhou Ying. No, Brother Yetian. Don't listen to Sun Qian's nonsense. None of that is true. Qi Fenglin is just a simp of mine. I've never liked him. I only talk to him for his food, to completely cut ties with me. Zhu Ying said everything, even things she shouldn't have. What she didn't know, though, was that after swallowing the awakening orb, my hearing had been greatly enhanced. Every word she said inside the room reached my ears clearly, not a single one missed. If I'd felt even a little pity for Zhou Ying before, that feeling was now completely gone. At this moment, only endless coldness remained in my eyes. Even the skeleton warriors beside me could feel their master's killing intent. Their bones creaked, and the soul fire in their eye sockets emitted a terrifying glow. Ying Ying, that Qi Fenglin you mentioned is at the door right now, isn't he? Then hurry up and open the door. Tell him to bring the food in. Yetian inside the room didn't press the issue further. Right now, he only wanted to take all the food I had for himself, then leave the three of us here to fend for ourselves. When Zhou Ying heard this, She thought Yetian had decided not to pursue it, so she immediately went to the door and called out, "Ki Fenglin, is that you?" With Yetian by her side, she no longer faked a soft tone. But based on what she knew about me, even if her voice was cold, I wouldn't leave. Hearing her words, I let out a cold laugh. Originally, I'd planned to have the skeleton captain break down the door by force, but after hearing those words, I decided to play a crueler trick. "Yeah, it's me. I even brought all the food." "Ying, hurry up and open the door!" Hearing that I'd brought food, Zhou Ying was excited at first. But the next second, she remembered the terrifying skeletons beside me. "Really? But I thought I saw scary skeletons next to you just now." "Skeletons? Ying, what are you thinking? How could there be things like that in the real world?" "Fine. Open the door and check for yourself." As I spoke, I silently muttered a command. "Disappear." The next second, the skeleton warriors filling the corridor disappeared instantly. Only 2 skeletons carried their large swords and walked toward the 16th floor. Soon after, the door was gently pulled open a crack. But the safety chain inside wasn't undone. Zhou Ying slowly stuck her head out to look outside and saw that the skeletons beside me were indeed gone. Immediately, she put on an innocent look and said, "Fenglin, I'm a traditional girl. You're not my boyfriend yet, so you can't come into my room." This scene was exactly the same as in my past life. Zhou Ying only wanted the food I had. She had no intention of letting me in. In the end, she'd even deliberately make a big commotion to lure zombies over, trying to get rid of me. But this life, she wouldn't get that chance. "Ki Fenglin, what are you doing?" "I already told you, you can't come in." Zhou Ying felt like the door was stuck on something. No matter how hard she pushed, she couldn't close it. The door itself was fine. I was just holding it open. Watching Zhou Ying struggle to close the door with all her strength, I felt both angry and amused. Angry? Because this woman was really this heartless. Amused? Because I could feel the power of being an awakened, even though I was only a low-tier level 1 now, and my strength was only a measly 10 points. That was almost twice as much as Zhou Ying's, a normal human. With a hard yank, I directly broke the iron door's bolt. "You said non-boyfriends can't enter your room, right? Then who is he?" The moment I opened the door, I finally confirmed Yetian's identity. He was the one who'd awakened the 6-winged fallen angel in my past life, and later became the Lord of Yuncheng. In the end, though, he turned into a tyrant in the chaotic times, causing Yuncheng, once an impenetrable fortress, to become the first city conquered by zombies. "So this is the dog who's been chasing you around?" "He really looks like a dog," Yetian said with a look of contempt. Zhou Ying immediately threw herself into Yetian's arms. "Brother Yetian." "It's him!" "He's the one who's been pestering me. If I wasn't afraid he'd go crazy, I would never have said those insincere things. With things having come this far, Zhou Ying chose to abandon me outright." "Kid, did you hear that? Ying has never liked you. But for the sake of this food, get out of here in 10 seconds. Hearing this, I only laughed coldly. "I'd like to see what ability you have to make me leave." Right now, Yetian wasn't the high and mighty Lord of Yuncheng yet. He wasn't even an awakened. His strength was probably worse than an ordinary zombie's. "You bastard! You're asking for death!" As soon as I finished speaking, Yetian threw a punch straight at my face. But I'd already seen his attack coming. "You kid actually have some skills." Seeing his punch caught firmly by me, Yetian said through gritted teeth. His eyes filled with shock and anger. But at that moment, I was even more shocked. I was already a low-tier level 1 awakened. My strength was almost double that of a normal person. I'd thought I could easily overwhelm Yetian. But I never expected his strength to be on par with mine. But I soon figured out why. There were differences between ordinary people, too. It was like comparing a baby to a boxer. Both were ordinary humans, but a baby's strength might only be 1, while a boxer's could reach 10. In my past life, I'd heard that Yetian had trained in professional sanda. No wonder his strength was so high. "I admit you have some strength, but if you want to fight me, Yetian, you're dead meat." Then he looked at Zhou Ying and Sun Qian beside him. "What are you two standing around for? Hurry up and help!" Hearing this, I let out a cold smile. Before I awakened, I might have been afraid of the 3 of them, but now thinking they could overwhelm me with numbers was just a joke. "Ti Fenglin, get out now! Otherwise, I really will do something." By this time, Zhou Ying had picked up a fruit knife from the side and pointed it at me. Sun Qian beside her was even crueler. She picked up a chair and threw it at me. After seeing the true colors of these 3, The last bit of pity in my heart disappeared completely. I silently muttered the command, summon. Immediately after, several loud bangs echoed in the air, and puffs of white mist suddenly appeared. With a clang, the chair in Sun Qian's hand suddenly froze in midair, and beside me, 7 skeleton warriors holding large swords appeared out of thin air. Seeing this scene, Zhou Ying and Sun Qian collapsed to the floor in fear. Their screams got stuck in their throats. What's going on? Yetian, who was still confronting me, had also been scared out of his wits. But being as arrogant as he was, he didn't choose to submit. Without hesitation, he ran toward the door. But as soon as he reached it, he froze in place, terrified. Outside the door, an even taller skeleton captain stood guard. So he had no choice but to walk back obediently. I looked at Yetian, who was scared out of his mind, my eyes full of contempt. Didn't you just say I was dead meat? With a thud, Yetian knelt straight down on the ground. Brother, I was wrong. Zhou Wing isn't my girlfriend at all. I barely even know Sun Qian. There must be some misunderstanding between us. Yetian wasn't stupid. He didn't know why these skeletons had appeared out of nowhere, but he was certain. These skeletons only obeyed my orders. Given the current situation, there was no way he could beat me. In his mind, he and I had no real connection. If he cut ties with these 2 women right away, maybe I'd let him go. Watching Yetian's pathetic state, I just found it ridiculous. The great lord of Yuncheng from my past life was now begging me like a dog. At this moment, Zhou Ying, who'd finally reacted, looked at Yetian with tears in her eyes. Brother Yetian, didn't you say you'd protect me for the rest of my life? Zhou Ying, don't talk nonsense. When did I ever say that? Brother Qi is such a good guy, and you treated him like a simp? You deserve to die. To completely cut ties with her? Yetian directly shifted the blame onto Zhou Ying. After hearing Yetian's words, Sun Qian beside her finally realized what was happening. Zhou Ying, can't you see? This so-called brother Yetian of yours never took you seriously at all. But your business with him has nothing to do with me. It was the 2 of you who plotted against Qi Fenglin to save her own life. Sun Qian immediately betrayed Zhou Ying and Yetian. As soon as she said this, Zhou Ying and Yetian instantly grew angry. Right after that, the 3 of them started bickering fiercely with each other. But I didn't want to listen anymore. The more I heard, the more I realized how unbearable the goddess in my past eyes was. So I looked at the 3 of them and said coldly, enough. Shut up. I'll only let one of you go. You have 5 minutes to decide among yourselves. Oh, and one more thing. Don't kill anyone. As soon as I finished speaking, a fierce glint flashed in Yetian's eyes. In the next second, he rushed straight at Zhou Ying. Zhou Ying, who was on the ground, hadn't even reacted when Yetian kicked her hard in the stomach. Zhou Ying, who'd lived a life of luxury, couldn't withstand it. One kick was enough to make her convulse on the ground. Brother Yetian, please spare me. Zhou Ying clutched her stomach and begged continuously, but Yetian showed no mercy. With 2 crisp cracks, Yetian even broke Zhou Ying's legs. Sun Qian beside her suffered the same fate. After doing this, Yetian let out a deep breath, as if he'd been redeemed. Brother Qi, can I leave now? I waved my hand, signaling the skeleton warriors in the room to make way for him. However, just as Yetian excitedly reached the door, the skeleton captain who'd been guarding outside blocked his way. Qi Fenglin, what do you mean by this? Yetian was furious, feeling tricked. Zhou Ying, who saw this, coughed and burst into laughter. Yetian, you deserved it! Zhou Ying, you bitch! Do you believe I'll kill you right now? Yetian couldn't do anything to me, but killing Zhou Ying would be easy for him, especially since he was already at his breaking point. Come on, I'm already like this. What's the difference between life and death? As long as you die, Yetian, it'll all be worth it. Ha ha ha, Zhou Ying with both legs broken had gone crazy. You're asking for death. Yetian slowly turned around, growling the 3 words through gritted teeth. But just as he was about to attack Zhou Ying, a skeleton warrior flew at him first, sending him crashing away. He didn't stop until he hit the wall. That blow broke nearly half the bones in his body. Qi Fenglin, you bastard. You tricked me. May you die a terrible death. Yetian struggled to get up, staring at me and snarling. He probably knew I wouldn't let him go, so he stopped begging entirely, spitting nothing but curses at me. I ignored him, walking over to Zhou Ying instead. I said coldly, do you think my feelings are that easy to fool? Didn't you say your brother Yetian would protect you? But in the end, it's him who hurt you the most. After saying that, I clapped my hands. In the next second, a skeleton warrior carried a zombie into the room. This zombie's legs had been cut off, but it was still alive. More than enough to deal with 3 disabled people. I ordered the skeleton warrior to put the zombie down, then walked out of the room. I had a skeleton warrior block the door too. If the 3 of them wanted to survive inside, they'd have to crawl around the small room non-stop until they were exhausted and eaten alive by the zombie. But instead of staying to watch their end, I had more important things to do. I checked the time on my phone and first decided against continuing to explore downstairs. It was already dark outside, and zombies became more active at night. Worse still, some zombies even had their stats doubled at night. While I now had an almost unbeatable skeleton squad, it was still just a squad. If we encountered a horde of hundreds or thousands of zombies, the only one who could break through would probably be the skeleton captain. Another important thing to note: in the first month after the apocalypse began, power and technology systems hadn't completely collapsed. Humans still had their most powerful trump card: thermal weapons. While zombies had randomly appeared in the military at first, the military had quickly stabilized the situation. It wasn't until a month later, when the military couldn't find enough technicians to operate heavy weapons, that all heavy weapons became unusable. From that moment on, the status of awakens gradually became prominent. So for me right now, the most important thing was to get stronger and avoid attracting the military's attention. Ideally, I should establish my own power somewhere. That way, I could not only survive the constant zombie waves, but also gain an advantage in the future competition for City Lord. The skyscraper I was in now was right in the center of Yuncheng, the place where high-quality awakening orbs appeared most frequently and in the highest quantities. It was also the place with the most opportunities. I believed that after tonight, more awakening orbs would appear on the rooftop. Once I confirmed my goal, I led the skeleton squad toward the rooftop. 5 minutes later, I finally returned to the top floor of the skyscraper. But as soon as I reached the door, my heart sank, because right now, there were 7 or 8 corpses lying at the entrance to the rooftop. Some were zombies, and others were people who'd been bitten to death. Clearly an extremely powerful creature had appeared on the rooftop, one that could easily take down these beings. But that wasn't what scared me. What scared me was that this powerful creature might know the purpose of the awakening orbs, and might even be devouring them right now. Thinking this, I didn't dare hesitate. I dashed forward in one leap. Reaching the rooftop of the skyscraper, sure enough, I saw a zombie with tattered clothes and gray skin greedily devouring the awakening orbs on the ground. Beside it lay the bodies of 5 or 6 other zombies. Obviously, it was afraid other zombies would steal the orbs from it. This surprised me greatly. I never expected a zombie with such high intelligence to appear so soon. At that moment, the zombie also noticed my presence. Human, it said, the word escaping its mouth. This scene shocked me. It could actually speak human language. This meant it had already reached the level 2 zombie stage. But that wasn't the most shocking part. What shocked me most was that this zombie was a zombie overlord. Zombie overlords were the tyrants among zombies. The name humans in Yuncheng gave to the most powerful zombies during the apocalypse. At that moment, I felt incredibly unlucky. The awakening day had just begun, and I'd already encountered a zombie overlord, one that was already level 2. Suddenly, something clicked in my mind. Could it be possible that in my past life, when Yetian awakened the 6-winged fallen angel, this zombie overlord was nearby? But back then, it wasn't as strong as the awakened Yetian, and it knew how powerful the awakening orb Yetian had swallowed was. That's why later on, the zombie overlord had tried its best to destroy Yuncheng. Just then, the zombie lord spoke again to the human. "You're strong. I'm gonna eat you." Next second, he charged straight at me. How did he tell I'm strong? Right now, if I only relied on my own strength, I couldn't even overwhelm Yetian, who hasn't awakened yet. How can I be considered strong? Could it be he can sense the quality of the awakening orb in me? The corpse owl's words surprised me a little, but I soon got excited. True, this zombie lord had reached level 2. But I not only had my undead squad, the skeleton knight captain's combat power was also level 2. I could use my numerical advantage to take him down before this corpse owl grew stronger. At this moment, the zombie lord was also excited. My body held the power he craved so much. If he could devour me, his strength would definitely jump drastically. Watching the corpse owl charge at me at a 100-meter sprint pace, I focused my will immediately 3 skeleton warriors appeared right in front of me. They held large blades, showing no fear at all. The suddenly appearing skeleton warriors startled the corpse owl, but his reaction speed didn't slow down at all. Just as the skeleton warrior's blades were about to slash him, he suddenly lifted his arms. A sound like clashing weapons rang out. The corpse owl was only knocked back a few meters. Thankfully, the skeleton warrior's attack wasn't for nothing. With that slash, a lot of flesh fell off the corpse owl's arms, but his bones were way too hard. Even a combined strike from 3 skeleton warriors couldn't cut through his arm. The repelled corpse owl didn't charge again. Instead, he stared carefully at the skeleton warriors in front of me. He couldn't figure out how these undead creatures appeared, or why they'd choose to protect a human. The confused corpse owl started frantically scratching the back of his hand. At first, I thought he'd gone crazy, but the next second, I couldn't stay happy anymore. Because on the back of the corpse owl's hand, 6 bone claws had actually grown. "All of you, come out!" I knew this corpse owl was going to get serious with me, so I didn't dare hold back at all. In just a breath's time, 9 skeleton warriors appeared around me. As for the skeleton knight captain, he didn't show up. He was my last trump card to defeat the corpse owl. I'd better not reveal him unless absolutely necessary. But the appearance of 6 skeleton warriors didn't make the corpse owl panic, because he could feel these skeletons' combat power was way lower than his. "Is this all you got, human?" With that, he roared and charged again. The bone claws in his hands whistled through the air. In just one exchange, 1 skeleton warrior was smashed to pieces by his claws. Seeing this, I immediately ordered the skeleton warriors to group up. Because I knew, in terms of speed, strength, and physique, all the skeleton warriors' stats were far below the corpse owl's. If they kept attacking separately, the corpse owl would take them down one by one sooner or later. This way, while their defense increased, the range the skeleton warriors could slash at was greatly reduced. Before long, another skeleton warrior was taken down by the corpse owl. It made my heart ache to watch. What worried me more was my undead chant skill was still on cooldown. Helpless, I had to stop hiding my strength. The next second, a creature holding a skeleton spear appeared beside me. As soon as the skeleton knight captain appeared, he used his charge skill. A loud boom sounded. The skeleton knight captain slammed hard into the corpse owl. The enormous force sent the corpse owl flying over 10 meters. But this corpse owl was still a zombie lord after all. The skeleton knight captain's crucial spear strike was actually blocked by his bone claws, though the cost was his bone claws being completely broken. The corpse owl slowly stood up, staring at me fiercely. "I'll remember you, human." With that, he jumped straight down from the 37th floor. Seeing this, I ran over immediately, only to see him use his claws and the bone spurs on his body to slide down the wall. Finally, he broke a window halfway down and jumped in. Judging by the height, he must have escaped to the 20th floor. But I didn't rush to chase him. First, I had no idea what state he was in. Second, even if I rushed down to find him without hesitation, what if other creatures came to the top floor? Was I supposed to give up the awakening orbs that had fallen here? After weighing the pros and cons, I had to give up the idea of chasing the corpse owl. The most important thing now was to get stronger as soon as possible. I could kill the zombie lord when we met next time. With that thought, I started picking up the awakening orbs scattered everywhere. After 20 minutes of careful searching, I finally collected all the awakening orbs. Unfortunately, I only found 7 in the end. It seemed the zombie lord had eaten quite a few. Right away, I crushed 1 awakening orb without hesitation. "Do you want to switch your class to the C-rank class?" Iron-blooded assassin? A prompt sounded in my mind. I immediately chose to refuse. After all, only an idiot would trade an SSS rank class for a C-rank one. As for switching classes, it was possible after the apocalypse, but very few people did it. Because after switching classes, all abilities from the previous class, including innate abilities, would disappear. Plus, your level would reset to the initial state. So unless you were switching from a class below B rank to one above S rank, no one would bother switching. But awakened ones didn't have to stick to just one class. Some extremely powerful people could even awaken 2 or 3 classes, but that was completely a matter of luck. While I couldn't absorb this awakening orb's class, I could use the awakening orb to enhance my current class's quality, or to level up. In other words, if you had enough awakening orbs, even the lowest level 1 class could potentially be upgraded to S rank. But awakening orbs were extremely rare in the apocalypse, The only reason I could use them so recklessly was because the apocalypse had just begun, and most people still didn't know what awakening orbs were used for. But my class was already at the highest quality, so absorbing awakening orbs could only help me level up. Unfortunately, this awakening orb didn't get me to level up, because the difficulty of leveling up for awakened ones was related to their own talent and their class's quality, and my class was the highest ranked SSS rank, so leveling up once was probably several times harder than others. Soon I absorbed 6 out of the 7 awakening orbs. One of them was even a high-quality fire mage orb, but I still didn't level up. It seemed my Undead Lord class was really hard to level up. I looked at the last awakening orb in my hand. It all comes down to you. The moment I fully absorbed the energy of this awakening orb, I felt the blood flow in my body speed up. Even the tiredness from the earlier fight with the zombie lord was mostly gone. I quickly checked my status panel. Sure enough, my level had gone from low-tier level 1 to mid-tier level 1. My 4 main stats had doubled outright, and even my undead summoning skill had been enhanced. I used to only be able to summon 10 undead creatures, but now I could summon 12. Before I could even savor the joy of leveling up, I felt another change in my summons. All the skeleton warriors had gone from low-tier level 1 to mid-tier level 1, but the skeleton knight captain's level hadn't changed at all. That caught me a little off guard. I never expected that when my level went up. My summons with lower levels than mine would level up too. After that, I started refilling the undead creatures in my summoning space, adding the 2 extra from leveling up, plus the 3 skeleton warriors that died earlier. I could summon a total of 5 more undead creatures. Once I got ready, I didn't hesitate to summon them. A green light flashed over me, and the next second, 4 pale white figures stood right in front of me. When I saw those 4 familiar figures, I couldn't help but feel frustrated. Is this really all the undead realm has? Just these low-level skeleton warriors? Or is it because my level is too low, and I can only summon these weak undead for now? While I was feeling down, the green light under my feet suddenly brightened. Then a humanoid creature glowing green all over appeared in front of me. Name, Poisoned Bone Corpse. Race, Undead. Level, High Tier Level 1. Strength, Agility, Spirit, Vitality, all 30. Innate skill, Poisoned Strike. Causes the target to enter a poisoned state. Even though this Poisoned Bone Corpse was a high-tier level 1 summon, way stronger than the skeleton warriors, the stench coming off it made me feel sick to my stomach. I didn't hesitate at all. I sent it back to the undead realm for now. I'd summon it to the front lines only when I needed it. If necessary, I could even use it as cannon fodder. After all, I didn't want this kind of creature around me all the time. Once that was done, I found a clean spot and lay down to sleep. I ordered the skeleton warriors and the skeleton knight captain to guard beside me. I was going to spend the night on the rooftop because I was sure that after tonight, more awakening orbs would appear. Once everything was set, I slowly drifted off to sleep. The next day I waited for most of the day and only got 3 awakening orbs in the end. It seemed like the gods' direct blessings to humans were over. From now on, humans would only get stronger through hard work and luck. I didn't hesitate. I absorbed all the energy from these 3 awakening orbs right away. The highest quality one was also a class orb. And just like I expected, my level didn't change at all. Just as I was about to leave the rooftop, my eyes suddenly started hurting like crazy. It felt like something was trying to grow out of them. I dropped to my knees, hands on the ground to steady myself. Drops of red liquid slid from the corners of my eyes. The intense pain made it almost impossible to open my eyes. I could only vaguely see the world in front of me, turn completely blood red. Could it be? Is this because I absorbed too many awakening orbs? But the zombie lord ate way more and was fine. Damn it! I yelled in frustration, rubbing my eyes. But suddenly I felt something was off. I ignored the pain in my eyes and opened my status panel. To my surprise, I'd gained 2 new skills. 1, Eyes of the Undead Lord. The user can see the basic stats of any creature no more than 1 level higher than themselves, including their active unique skills. Ineffective against beings above mythic rank. 2, Undead Blood Aura. Sacrifice. Offer the flesh and blood of living beings to perform a powerful summoning. The quality of the summon depends on the value of the sacrifice. After seeing my new stats, I let out a long sigh of relief. I thought I was going blind. Never did I expect to gain new skills out of this misfortune. Even though Eyes of the Undead Lord wasn't a combat skill, nor was it a support skill. It was extremely useful. It let me see the enemy's info in advance before a fight, but the other skill made me frown. After all, the name Undead Blood Aura sounded so bloody. I just didn't know how strong it really was. By then, the pain in my eyes was fading. 10 minutes later, my eyes were finally back to normal. But just as I stood up to leave, from the stairwell, I heard human voices getting closer and closer. Do you think those awakening orbs online are real? If they are, does that mean we can become immortals? I'm so excited. Shut the hell up, idiot. What if there are still zombies up there? Trust me, there won't be any zombies in this building. Yesterday, I saw someone with a bunch of skeletons kill all the zombies upstairs. Bullshit! Last night scared the crap out of me. I was hiding safely at home when a zombie covered in blood suddenly broke through the window and came in. I thought I was done for. But luckily it didn't even look at me and just ran off. I heard every word of their conversation. Their arrival didn't surprise me at all. After all, in a skyscraper this big, it was normal to have other survivors. But what they were talking about really caught my interest. In other words, one of them saw the zombie lord last night, and the zombie lord, to escape from me, didn't even bother to eat him. Also, they already knew what awakening orbs did, so I quickly recalled all the skeleton warriors. Boss, look, there's someone on the rooftop. One of the men pointed at me on the rooftop, speaking in a panic. Hey, are you human or a zombie? When the man turned around, he saw me walking toward them. Out of caution, he immediately held up the kitchen knife in his hand, but I ignored them. Instead, I silently activated my Eyes of the Undead Lord. The info of the people in front of me popped up right away. The leader, Liu Cheng, had decent stats. No wonder he'd survived this long, and even become their boss. If I hadn't used up all the awakening orbs, these guys would have become awakened ones today. Seeing that I didn't say anything, and just kept walking, Liu Cheng's hand started shaking a little. Hey, if you come any closer, I'll really attack. But before he could react, I was already in front of him, and the weapon in his hand was now pressed against his own neck. Now answer whatever I ask. I don't want to waste time with small talk. I just wanted to get info about this place as soon as possible. After seeing how strong I was, Liu Cheng didn't dare say no to anything. He quickly promised to tell me everything he knew. At first, Liu Cheng cooperated pretty well, but when talking about the number of survivors in the building, he hesitated. It was like he was hiding something, especially when the topic turned to food. His eyes kept darting away. After all, in the apocalypse, for ordinary people, food was the most precious thing. He was probably afraid I'd take his food. As for how many survivors were actually in the building, I didn't care at all. Okay, you can leave now. I didn't want to stay here any longer. But just as I was about to leave, Liu Qiang suddenly spoke up. Boss, you came down from the top floor, right? Did you see any black orbs up there? I shook my head. Saw nothing. I couldn't exactly say that I'd used up all the awakening orbs, could I? Liu Qiang was silent for a moment, then invited me to his place. Beneath his respectful expression, there was a hint of malice. But what he didn't know was that I'd already seen through his little tricks. Soon, Liu Qiang led me to his apartment. As soon as I walked in, I felt a thick aura of death filling the air. It seemed like many people had died in this room, but I didn't expose him right away. I wanted to see what Liu Qiang was really up to. Soon, Liu Qiang brought over a steak and a glass of red wine. I thought he'd prepared a big meal for me. And just in time, I was hungry. But just as I was about to eat, I realized this wasn't steak at all. It was human flesh. That instantly made me want to kill him. In my previous life, I'd taken down an underground meat factory in Yuncheng. I still remember it clearly. People were strung up in a row like pigs. If I was right, Liu Qiao must have had close ties to that factory. No wonder his group hadn't starved to death, and even lived so comfortably. But I guessed Liu Qiang wasn't the mastermind behind it. It seemed like to find the real mastermind, I'd have to play a trick, pretend to be injured. So I picked up the glass of red wine and brought it to my lips. From the corner of my eye, I saw Liu Qiang's mouth twitch slightly upward, so the problem was definitely in the wine. But I was an SSS rank awakened one at mid-tier level 1. How could I be afraid of such a cheap trick? So without a second thought, I downed the entire glass of wine. Right after the sound of glass shattering rang out, my body slowly collapsed to the floor. I spit. What a hick, total hick. Who do you think you are, drinking my Lafitte? Looking at me lying motionless on the ground, Liu Qiao kicked me hard a few times. You two, check if he has any awakening orbs on him. Liu Qiang ordered his 2 underlings to search me. But after searching, they found nothing on me. Furious, Liu Qiang kicked me again. That bastard must have used up all the awakening orbs. One of his underlings asked, "Boss, what do we do now? If he's eaten all the awakening orbs, then we'll eat him." With that, Liu Qiang sat down at the table, ready to eat the untouched human meat. But before he could even put the sliced meat in his mouth, an urgent voice came from the door. "Boss, something's wrong with Brother Ma." "Should we go check?" "Quit yelling! I'm not deaf!" "Spit it out. What happened to Brother Ma?" Brother Ma took some guys to find awakening orbs this morning, but they didn't find any, and ran into zombies on the way back. Brother Ma said the zombie could even talk. Even guns couldn't hurt it, and that zombie brought another one with it. The other one had 4 heads. If Brother Ma hadn't reacted fast, and 2 brothers hadn't sacrificed themselves, he wouldn't have made it back. The underling rambled on about what had happened, but Liu Qiang looked annoyed. "Enough! Enough! What a load of nonsense. 4 heads? Why not say it had 3 heads and 6 arms?" As he spoke, he tossed a piece of meat into his mouth. Other than that, what else did Brother Ma say? Nothing else. He just asked how the awakening orb search was going, and he said, "You have to go down to see him no matter what." Hearing that, Liu Qiang flew into a rage and threw his plate. That bastard got his ass kicked by zombies, and he still dares to order me around? If he didn't have a gun, he would have been dead by my hands long ago. Pretending to be asleep on the floor, I heard every word clearly. The zombie the underling mentioned was probably the corpse owl, but the 4-headed zombie with it made a bad feeling rise in my chest. As for Brother Ma Zhuang, he mentioned, I seem to remember him from my previous life's memories. You 3 carry that guy, and come with me downstairs. After thinking for a moment, Liu Qiang decided to take me with him. If Brother Ma asked about the awakening orbs, he could blame it on me. "Boss, what if this guy wakes up on the way?" His underlings had seen how strong I was, and they worried the wine wouldn't knock me out. Hearing that, Liu Qiang slapped the underling's head. "Afraid of what?" he snapped. "I put 3 times the usual dose of knockout drug in it. Even a cow would sleep for 3 days straight." After hearing Liu Qiang say that, the underlings didn't dare say anything more. After that, they carried me to a room on the 9th floor of the building. "I asked you to find awakening orbs. How did that go?" Sitting on the sofa, a man with a woman in his arms asked. His arrogant attitude made it obvious he was Ma Zhuang, Liu Qiang's brother Ma, but Liu Qiang had expected this question. He pointed at me on the floor. We checked the top floor, but there wasn't a single awakening orb there. But we found this guy up there. I suspect he used up all the awakening orbs, but I didn't care about Liu Qiang's words, with my eyes of the undead lord active. I finally got a clear look at this Ma Zhuang. And sure enough, Ma Zhuang was the biggest gang leader in Yunqing in my previous life. Rumors said that before the apocalypse, he was already a famous gangster boss. He controlled over 70% of Yunqing's real estate business. He called the shots on everything. Then, just a few days before the apocalypse, Ma Zhuang got into the underground arms trade. That's why he had guns now. Right away, I used my eyes of the undead lord on Ma Zhuang. To my surprise, he'd already awakened to class. No wonder the zombie lord had chased him so fiercely. But I remembered in my previous life, he'd awakened the S-rank class cold-blooded tyrant, and Liu Qiang, who'd awakened a level 1 class, was his third in command. It seemed my appearance had really changed their fates. "What's wrong with this guy?" After staring at me for a while, Ma Zhuang asked coldly. "Brother Ma, you have no idea. This guy is tough. If I hadn't reacted fast, I wouldn't be here talking to you now. I think this guy used up all the awakening orbs." Liu Qiang bowed slightly, speaking respectfully. But Ma Zhuang didn't respond to Liu Qiang. Instead, he ordered a few underlings to check the rooftop. Then he pulled out a gun and pointed it at Liu Qiang and the others. The remaining 2 underlings searched Liu Qiang and his men thoroughly. It was clear Ma Zhuang didn't trust Liu Qiang, and he already knew exactly what awakening orbs were used for. But 10 minutes later, the underlings returned empty-handed. This made Ma Zhuang furious, but he had to believe Liu Qiang's story. So he pointed his gun straight at me. But just as he was about to pull the trigger, I suddenly got up. With one punch, I broke the arm holding the gun. Then I grabbed the gun and pressed it to his head. "Kid, whatever you want, just tell me. I'll give it to you." With the gun to his head, Ma Zhuang gritted his teeth through the pain, hurriedly saying, Hearing that, I let out a faint smile. Tell your underlings to get out. Oh, right. Liu Qiang stays. Liu Qiang, who was just about to leave, froze in his tracks. With a thud, he dropped to his knees. Boss, it's all my fault. I was blind, didn't recognize a great man like you. I offended you. This is all Ma Zhuang's idea. He forced me. He has a gun. I couldn't resist. As he spoke, he slapped himself hard twice. But I didn't want to waste time with them. I just wanted to know how much food they had. With the gun to his head, Ma Zhuang had no choice but to tell the truth. We have 20 caddies of snacks, 100 barrels of purified water, 20 caddies of vegetables, 30 caddies of meat, and a cabinet full of wine. Hearing that, I let out a cold laugh. That's all? Aren't you forgetting something? With that, I pointed the gun straight at Liu Qiang on the floor. Boss, it was never my idea. It was all Ma Zhuang's doing. I'd never dare eat human flesh. Liu Qiao instantly understood what I meant. He dumped all the blame on Ma Zhuang. Liu Qiang, you bastard. Wasn't this your idea too? You even said you'd eaten human flesh before the apocalypse. Betrayed by his underling, Ma Zhuang flew into a rage and started arguing. But I didn't come here to watch them fight. So, I asked straight up, what's on the 14th floor of this building? As soon as I mentioned this, the previously agitated Liu Qiang and Ma Zhuang fell silent instantly. It seemed the 14th floor was where they kept those poor captives. Now that I had the exact location, there was no use keeping these two alive. 2 gunshots rang out. Both of them fell to the ground at the same time. As for their underlings, I let them all go. After that, I took the elevator to the 14th floor. The moment the elevator doors opened on the 14th floor, I heard a pre-recorded chime. Princess Han is home! The voice was male, soft and gentle. He was probably the owner of this place. As for Han, she must be the mistress. But I'd barely taken a step forward when I smelled a strong stench of blood and roasted meat. Hurry up, you 3! If my cat goes hungry, you'll regret it. Then a woman's voice rang out. Yes, Sister Hui. I'll go cut a piece of good meat right away. Soon, heart-wrenching screams came from inside the room. Of course I knew what was happening. Just as I was about to go in, a very weak voice came from another room. Han, I'm sorry. Heng, I can't take this anymore. Their conversation caught my attention instantly, because Han, the name mentioned in the chime, seemed to be inside. Just as I leaned in, curious to enter that room, the voice of Sister Hui from earlier suddenly came from behind me. Who are you? Did Brother Ma send you? Hearing that, I turned around quickly. There stood a woman, wearing a mink coat and black silk stockings. She was dressed seductively, but showed no fear at all in this environment. In fact, I seemed to see playfulness and hunger in her eyes. Oh, what a cute young thing. When she saw my handsome face, her interest was piqued immediately. She threw herself at me, her restless hands wandering all over my body. I stepped back quickly.
Sister Hui.
Please stop. Brother Ma sent me to get familiar with the place. That old bastard again? I bet he sent you to spy on me. As soon as Ma Zhuang's name was mentioned, the woman lost all her earlier interest. Not only that, I even sensed a hint of killing intent from her. If Brother Ma sent you, stop standing around. Come with me, I'll show you something. But don't go crying later, okay? Then she led me into that room. See, this is what we eat. As we walked in, the woman took a deep breath, as if she was intoxicated by the smell. Her actions instantly reminded me of someone, Hua Qianhui, the underground queen of Yuncheng. After the apocalypse, she controlled all kinds of illegal trades, and her status was no lower than Ma Zhuang's. I never expected this small skyscraper to hide so many powerful figures, all of them unspeakably evil. By now, words could no longer describe the scene inside the room. Besides Hua Qianhui, there were 5 chefs dressed like butchers. The rest of the space was filled with people, some still alive, some already dead, but they all had one thing in common. More or less flesh had been cut from their bodies. The living ones either looked at me with hatred or with pleading eyes, but they all had the same request, to give them a quick death. Seeing this, anger slowly welled up in my chest. I told you you'd be scared, but don't worry. I'll show you something even better. Just as I was about to act, Hua Xianhui grabbed my hand and pulled me into another room. What came into view was a man and a woman tied in the corner. Please, give us a quick death! The man in front of me had one hand and one leg cut off. He could only make weak sounds. Death won't be that easy for you. Look, I brought someone new to take care of your wife. Hua Qianhui spoke contemptuously to the man on the ground. Seeing this scene, I closed my eyes instantly. I could no longer hold back my anger, because in front of me, there was a woman completely tied up, her body forced into an extremely perverted pose. On her body, there were still traces of unknown substances. Anyone would know what had happened. Seeing me freeze, Hua Qianhui patted my shoulder, speaking unhappily. What are you waiting for? Go on. I didn't move. Instead, I turned around and stared coldly at Hua Qianhui, not her. I want you… Kid, are you even old enough? How dare you tease your elder sister? Aren't you afraid I'll really eat you? Hearing my words, Hua Qianhui wasn't scared at all. Instead, she laughed even harder, but I just stood there quietly, saying nothing. My eyes, however, couldn't hide the killing intent. You've got some guts, kid. I bet you ate those awakening orbs too, right? But right now, not even you, let alone Ma Zhuang, can touch me. Hua Qianhui could clearly sense my killing intent. Her words made me realize something instantly. So I activated my Eyes of the Undead Lord right away. And what I saw shocked me. Hua Qianhui had also awakened a class. It was even the S-rank class Poisonous Scorpion Queen. What's more, her level had reached mid-tier level 1. I'd eaten no fewer than 10 awakening orbs, just to reach mid-tier level 1. How did she get to the same level? Had her lucky chance not been ruined by me? But even so, I felt no fear. After all, I was the one who'd chased away a level 2 zombie lord. This mere mid-tier level 1 was nothing to me, so I let out a cold laugh. Oh, really? I'd love to see what the Poisonous Scorpion Queen can do. Hearing my words, Hua Qianhui's expression turned cold instantly. She looked at me with curiosity in her eyes. After all, this was still the very start of the apocalypse.